What is going on, guys? This is Ben here. In today's video, we are going to be opening up the new starter deck coming to Yu-Gi-Oh, which is Link Strike. So along with Link Strike coming out, that means there's going to be a new mechanic coming into the game, which is called Link Summoning. So I'll give like a basic tutorial on how to Link Summon and talk about the zones and everything. If you're coming back to the game and don't know what Link Summoning is, I'll give a very basic tutorial. I'll also leave like a link in the description below to the Konami like official, basically everything you need to know about Link Summoning and the new rules and everything. But I'll give you my best little short description of it. Without further ado, let's get into the starter deck. And let me know if you like this angle better than the last video. Sadly, I'll probably have to change how I record, so you don't see this camera right in front of me. But without that, we're gonna pop this starter deck open. And yeah, I don't know, I'm excited. A lot of people said they're gonna quit with the Link Summoning or Link starter deck. I've actually not watched the new Yu-Gi-Oh anime. I really haven't watched any of them other than the original one, but this guy is like from the main character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, I think is what it is. So we'll set that over here. Obviously, we get the rule book. Nothing really special there. Now, the playmat is something I'm gonna actually need to talk to you guys about. Okay, so I was actually going to discuss about the new playmat and the new zones and everything about how the Yu-Gi-Oh field is changing, but I'm actually going to open up this starter deck here first, if I can even get it open, man, jeez. Okay, we finally got it out of this stupid little plastic here. That was a lot harder than I thought. Well, I forget how many ultra rares we have, but we have Link Slayer. We'll read as effect. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, you can discard up to 2 cards, then target that many spell and traps on the field and destroy them. So not terrible. This is what I was talking about with Link monsters. Actually, no, I cut that part out. So yeah, I'll discuss how to make these guys and the new field changes after I do the thing. But this is a Link monster. You can see how it has arrows. It does not have a level. It has no defense. And it has an attack. So these monsters cannot be changed to defense position. They can only be in attack position. And yeah, they're basically, we'll just leave him up here and we'll talk about him later. And then also we have Ram Clouder. Let's see what this. You contribute 1 monster, then target 1 Cyberse monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. You can only use this effect of Ram Coder once per turn. Here is another Link monster. We got Honeybot here. Neither player can target monsters this card points to with card effects, and those monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Alright. Yeah, we'll discuss more about these, like I said, later. Then we have Link Spider. Once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower normal monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. So the zones it's talking about is the little arrow that's lit up that the voice points to. Like I said, we'll discuss those over. We got Bitron, Draco Net, Galaxy Serpent, Mystery Shell Dragon, Beast King Barbaros. You guys know you just normal summon him. He's at 1900 attack. Cyber Dragon's in here. Photon Thrasher. All right, a lot of these cards we've already seen before. Evil Swarm, Marauding Captain, Sangan, Curry Bandit. That's awesome. That's actually, I think the only other reprint of this, or the only other print of this, is a secret rare. Okay, from like Dragons of Legend or something. But Marshmallow, awesome card. Card D. All right. Lightsworn, or Raikou Lightsworn, Battle Fader, Swift Scarecrow. A lot of hand traps in here. Effect Veiler, Cynet Universe. This is a field spell. All Link monsters you control gain 300 attack. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. This card on the field. If this card on the field is destroyed by effect, send all monsters in the extra zone to the graveyard. Well, that would suck. Monster Reincarnation, Dark Hole, Mystical Space Typhoon, Book of Moon. So yeah, Book of Moon would not work on Link monsters. And then Forbidden Lance, United We Stand, Pot of Duality. Just picked up some ulti Pot of Dualities for those of you curious. Burden of the Mighty, Supply Squad, Terraforming, Jar of Avarice, alright, Call the Haunted, Mere Forest, Torrential Tribute, Ring of Destruction, Bottomless Trap Hole, Compulsory Activation Device, Venus Chain, and Dark Web. So this has some really good commons in here, but, I mean, it's a great starter deck. This is a very good, if you're just getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh, this has a lot of actually really good cards, staple cards that you might want to pick up. Well, I mean, nothing's really too crazy for the cards that are in there, but hey, if you want to buy 3 of these, you can make it actually a solid deck. So now what we're going to talk about, we'll put these ultra rares up here, is basically the Link monsters. So how you would summon these guys. Alright guys, so now that we actually opened the deck and saw everything that was inside, I'm really blown away at how good some of those cards are too. Like, what did I like? Pot of Duality and like, I don't know, like Forbidden Lance, Mystical State Social Moon, Terraforming, like a lot of good staples and good traps. Mirror Force, oh my gosh, so good cards. But now we're going to talk about how you actually link summon and talk about the new playmat or the new zone changes and everything. So for the playmat, pendulum zones now occupy your spell and trap zones. So you still have 5 spell and trap zones, but these far left and the far right ones now are also considered pendulum zones if you have a pendulum monster. So if you're gonna pendulum, or if you're gonna make your scale for a pendulum, so say these 2 were pendulum cards, you have to put them here and you have to put them here. Oops, which only leaves you with, so say you have pendulum monsters here and here, that only leaves you with 3 other spell and trap zones for your spell and traps. So it's kind of like they nerf pendulums a lot. You can still place regular spell and traps here if you're not using pendulums, or if you have no plan to use pendulums, you can still place these zones as spell and traps. So yeah, that's that. Pendulum zone now take up that spot. Now say your pendulum monster is there and you don't have this zone controlled, you still can put a spell and trap here. It's just you wouldn't be able to complete your scale if you have all these other occupied. And then another change was that we now have an extras monster zone and another extra monster zone. So you and your opponent, if you are going to summon from your extra deck, let's say Synchro Monsters, XC Monsters, and Link Monsters and Fusion Monsters, they have to be summoned to these zones. Now you get priority at which one you want to choose first, whether it be this one or this one, but you cannot at this time control both of them at the same time. I assume maybe in the future there will be a card that'll be like, you can special summon this card to any unoccupied monster zone, and then hence you may be able to control both of these. But for the time being, you can only summon, or once you choose which monster to go to, you can summon it there. And if they're both open, you can choose whatever one, but you can only control one of these. And extra deck monsters can only be special summoned to these, so that would be XC, Synchros, and Links. But that's where Links come into play. If you're able to Link summon and they come here, you see where these arrows are. Say I Link summon and put him up here in the extra deck monster zone, and my arrow points down, and my arrow points here, and my arrow also points to my opponent. Well, extra deck monsters can now be summoned from to here, and to my opponent's zone. So your opponent gains a zone to special summon extra deck monsters, you gain a zone here, and another zone here where you can special summon extra deck monsters as long as like they're linked here. So say I XC summon and put a card right here. Let's say I put like, I don't know, Utopia Lightning right here. Well, not Utopia, just like, let's say I put like a Felgrand right here, and I don't know, what's a basic? Let's say I put it like an Invoker right here, and my Link monster actually leaves to the graveyard or somehow leaves the field, and I still have those XC summon monsters here. Well, they would still be fine just chilling here. It's whenever they were placed there. It's just like my next extra deck monster would have to be summoned to here, or here if this was open. But so now that we get that out of the way, so basically if you summon extra deck monsters and you don't have Link monsters, you're limited to one, and it has to be here. And if you have a Link monster, it just unlocks extra zones where you can summon from the extra deck. So yeah, that's what Links are. But how you summon these bad boys, obviously each of them is going to have their own different conditionings. Think of it kind of like different, like you have to meet different requirements like for them to be summoned. Kind of like XC monsters, you know how some of them are like 2 light monsters or something like that, or 1 light monster and 1 dark monster. I don't even know if that's a card, but this guy is very easy. You can see he's Link Spider. All he requires is 1 normal monster. So if we had, where's a normal monster in this deck? Okay, if we had, what is this card's name? Galaxy Serpent in defense mode, and I wanted to Link summon Link Spider, I'll be like, alright, in my main phase, basically you just state like an XC summon or a Synchro summon, you just be like, alright, I am going to Link summon. So this guy meets my requirements for this Link Spider, send my dude to the graveyard, and then I Link summon to my extra monster zone. So now that I have Link summoned successfully this Link Spider, and now see the arrow how it points down, I can now also summon monsters from the extra deck to this zone because he unlocks it for me. So say later on I want to XC summon, I can summon here and then summon this bad boy. So now, what are the requirements for Decode Talker? 2+ effect monsters. So it's not 2 monsters, it's 2+ effect monsters, but you can see how it's link 3. That is how many monsters it actually requires. So easy, like this guy's only link 1, which was Link Spider, so it requires 1 monster to summon this guy. Decode Talker is link 3, so it's going to require 3 monsters to summon this guy, or 3 materials. So this is kind of where it gets a little interesting. So let's say hypothetically we had, what is this card's name? Honeybot. Sorry, I have to forget the names. If we have Honeybot on the field, somehow we got her on the field, bam, well she requires 2 Cyberse monsters. So you can see how she's linked 2, she requires 2 monsters, and they're 2 Cyberse monsters, that's a requirement. So say we link summoned her with 2 Cyberse monsters and she's on the field now. The zones she would unlock is over here and over here, which actually doesn't do anything. So she wouldn't unlock anything, so don't ever place her there. But say we get her to the extra deck monster, she is now actually worth 2 materials on her own because she is a link 2. So basically you can use her for 2, and say we had another effect monster on the field, and normally Decode Talker, like I said, would take 3 monsters. Well, you can treat whatever link that they are, you can treat them as that number of monsters, and she's an effect monster, so she is treated as 2. And then this guy would meet the second requirement because it requires 2+ effect monsters. So even though she is treated as 2 to complete the link, she isn't like 2 monsters on her own. So that's where it's like 2+. So then to meet the requirement, we have 2+ effect monsters, but it still completes the link as a link 3, so then we'd be able to summon our Decode Talker. I don't know if that really made a whole lot of sense. I'm pretty sure I explained it kind of well, but yes, you can use whatever their link is for materials. So say there was like a monster that needed let's just say it was a link 4 monster and it just needed 2+ monsters. So I had Decode Taker and this guy. To make it link 4, I would just need to use these 2 to get that link 4 monster out, or I could use 4 monsters on their own. So basically, you can just use their link as that number of monsters, if that makes sense. So that's the easy version of how link summons are. It's not too difficult. I know a lot of people were scared, but it's really easy to understand. It's just like they unlock the zones for your other extra deck monsters. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of link summoning, and if I know I announced this on my other channel, but if you're not really back into Yu-Gi-Oh, I know you're probably like, Ben, what the heck are you talking about? I don't even know what XC or Synchro Summon is. But for those of you that are into the game, what do you think of link summoning? I'm actually excited for it. Just a new change to the game. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.